action and MVP versus UFC, you came to the right place. Hey, buddy, how are you doing? I took over the show because we're live.
I'm doing pretty good. Had to put a little nicotine pouch in. We got a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about on this beautiful, beautiful Sunday afternoon. The sky's shining, but it wasn't shining too much for the people last night watching the whole Netflix MVP card. Well, with
You know
MVP
what?
promotions.
I
But
think
I
it was
enjoyed it.
I think it was shining bright until the prelims. I think it was shining fights, two fights into the main card. And then
Yeah.
we had to wait like 45 minutes between every fight after that because
Yep.
there it was a bunch of squash matches and it went way too quickly. So hold on, I am getting a text message,
I'm not
and
texting you.
my wife just told me the intro had no business being that loud, but she doesn't understand. We're live.
We're live! Hannah, get out of our DMs.
Yeah, get out of the DMs. Let me go ahead and post this. You go ahead and set it up.
I guess we'll just get it right off the rip. Our first, well, not the first, but the last fight of the night, the main event of the evening was Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano. Ronda got won via submission by armbar, 17 seconds in the fight. We're going to get into that. But I'm just going to describe the fight real quick, too. If you guys did not see the fight, it only took me like 2 minutes to write down the whole thing that happened in the fight. Carano threw an initial leg kick to start the match. Rousey immediately closed the distance and initiated a clinch. She executed her signature judo style throw to take Carano down. Rousey transitioned instantly to mount, locked in an armbar. Carano tapped out in 17 seconds into the first round. That's it. Literally, me speaking, what happened took longer than the actual fight happened. When I saw this fight being booked, this is exactly what I was expecting to happen. We knew Ronda Rousey was going to attack. Ronda was not going to play that BS game that she played in her last fight 9.5 years ago, where they made her go out there thinking she's a striker. Ronda's not a striker. She's good at striking, but she was not a striker. So Ronda went in, old
Noticeably,
school, true judo, bronze Olympic medalist, went in, took her down, got the armbar against somebody that hasn't fought, what was it, 16 and a half years, 17 years?
13
13
years.
years, something, it was something crazy.
Yeah.
But
Her last MMA fight was in 2009, a
Cyborg.
loss against Chris Cyborg.
Yeah, Chris Cyborg, another savage. Chris Cyborg, savage. But what do we expect? I understand why people would be upset with quick fights. People have always been upset with quick fights. It's the same problem that people had with the greatest of all time, Iron Mike Tyson. People were like, you couldn't go take a pee, came back.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're circling around right where I want to land on. You have the airstrip there, and here I am going to
Yeah.
land it.
Yeah.
All
So
these people.
Iron Mike Tyson, legend.
Oh.
Ronda Rousey, legend in her own sport. I'm gonna let my buddy Derek take over because he is. I see the flames and fumes coming out of ears. Hang on, let me talk for another 3 minutes, Derek. Okay, you can go right ahead. No, you're good. I pretty much.
Anyways, so no, all week I've been hearing the crap talk. People been clowning Ronda and all this stuff, and people are like, they're making fun of the punches. They're making fun, and yeah, it's terrible. She doesn't have strikings. The reason why there's been the Mike Tyson comparisons of Ronda Rousey was Mike Tyson came in and dominated people within 2 minutes. There'd be these months and months of build-up for a Mike Tyson fight, and then over like that, complete dominance, and people were like, be sitting there at midnight after paying their pay-per-view and be like, did I really just waste all that time thinking this guy had a chance against Mike Tyson? That was what it was like watching Ronda Rousey run. And, I was on Twitter talking a little bit, and so let me get right to this. All you dummies, you stupid people, big old dum-dums, thinking that fight was rigged. Guys, what do you think Ronda Rousey was going to do? Everyone's like, oh, her striking's trash. Yeah, no shit. She's an Olympic, bronze medalist in jiu-jitsu. The only two people ever able to beat her in MMA is Holly Holm, a generational cross-discipline champion. She's won at kickboxing. She's won at boxing. She's won in MMA. She is a generationally talented striker. And then Amanda Nunes, the GOAT of women's MMA. Those were the only two people that ever beat her. Ronda dominated Miesha Tate. She dominated Sarah McMahon, another Olympic medalist. Like, this is what she does, people. And newsflash, Gina was never good. Gina was never good. She was just first. And that is the significance of Gina. So, for all you people saying it's fake, it's like, y'all just don't know what a Ronda Rousey fight looks like. You guys, I understand. She hasn't fought in a long time. You guys probably came in during the COVID era, you know, or the McGregor era, which kind of happened post-Ronda. And you guys just, you know, you heard all the jokes. You heard the head movement. You've heard all the jokes that she can't stand up. And you're like, oh, she's a trash fighter, a can crusher. And like, no, Rousey is good. She just has a very limited A game. And if you can stop her takedown, you can probably beat her. But almost no one can stop her takedown or her judo throws or her trips. That's the danger of Ronda Rousey. She comes at you like a heat-seeking missile and wants to rip your arm off. Like, what did we expect? Of course this was going to happen. That's why it was like a plus, or Gina was like a plus 1,000 underdog. Ronda by submission was like minus 700. All you weirdos thinking it's rigged, everyone knew this was going to happen.
Yeah. Let me push this back.
But
No. To everybody, the thumbnail was saying Strickland Hamzat. I got it changed to the correct thumbnail while we were live because I was like, we cannot have that going out there. So I saw there's a couple people watching. Sorry about that. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. I saw on Instagram top disclosure payouts for this fight. I'm gonna read them off to you real quick. Ronda Rousey got 2.2 million. Francis 1.5. Gina 1.05. Nate Diaz, $500,000 on a dot. Mike Perry, 400,000. Jason Jackson, 110,000. Junior Dos Santos, 80,000. Adriano Morris, 80,000. And then it just keeps dropping off down from there.
I believe the minimum any fighter got on this card, and this is in disclosed pay, was $40,000. So, respectable amount, better than a UFC newcomer coming off Contender Series. But, you know, no bank-breaking numbers for the lower guys on there, for sure. But
I respect what they're trying to do and what they're trying to promote and say that they're paying these guys a lot more money. But I was assuming a lot more money for, like, JDS. Like, 80,000 for Junior Dos Santos was kind of... I'm like, I thought he was going to get at least over 100K. I understand. I would have not... Me, personally, he's not worth it. Sorry to you, JD. I know former.
JDS needs to retire, and we can talk about that now. We can talk about that later.
No, we'll get into the actual fight now, but I'm just using his money example. There was just a way that Jake Paul and them were saying they're paying these fighters a lot of money, a lot of coming money.
Well, Ronda made that a big point, actually.
Yeah. Oh, Ronda, yes. But it's just...
She's the one that sold this fight, and she's the one that brought up all the fighter pay and blah, blah, blah. And that's probably because they got an insulting offer when Ronda and Gina originally went to UFC to try to make this fight. They're like, yeah, sure, we'll give you this, X. And they got insulted by that payout, and clearly they went to a bigger platform and made a lot more money. Good for them. But the big question is, how do you feel about Ronda Rousey saying that's it for her? That she's not coming back? Because that was the big thing. If Ronda got past Gina, you could set up Ronda home too. They're both with MVP. They're both on Netflix. That's kind of, or with Holly being with MVP, she could be on Netflix. I know she has a ESPN Plus fight coming up later in May, I believe. But yeah, isn't that kind of the thing that like that was the setup of Ronda home too on Netflix? Is that be really if you wanted to compete with UFC, that's kind of what they got to do. With her saying it's a one and done, it kind of feels like she kind of wanted to just give a little bit of a bump, get back in there, go out. I think she wanted to go out on a win, frankly. I think that's what Ronda wanted out of all this.
Ronda got really, really depressed after that last fight, and it definitely obviously carried on because she never fought again. And her coming back in and seeing what she did definitely was was nice to see. Happy to see her happy, smiling,
Yeah.
shedding tears of joy. But we all kind of expected the whole Holly Holm thing in the back of our heads. Like, we might really get this Holly Holm, Ronda
Yeah.
Rousey too coming up. Holly Holm isn't in the top of her game either. And Ronda
Yeah.
Rousey, I mean, she's not even in her 40s. She's 38, 39. So it's not like she's completely like out of the normal range of what you see a UFC fighter at. A little bit on the higher side for women fighting, but it's nothing crazy.
Holly Holm is currently 44 years old, so
Holly 44 and Ronda's how old? 38, 39?
I believe 38.
Yeah, but she's not 40s. I know that. Holly Holm obviously has more.
39.
39, okay. Holly Holm obviously has more ability left because she's been practicing a lot more in the last
She's been active
decade.
competition.
She's been active a lot more. But there's a key point to not being active but staying in shape and not taking no wear and tear and not getting into some crazy brawls.
Well,
She's
and
fresh.
that's the thing,
But I really didn't.
Ronda was competing in WWE, and even though that is not competition,
That is true.
You
Yeah.
got to be in shape for that. Now she
Yeah.
definitely probably had some wear and tear here and there,
Yes.
in that. But hey, you got to be in shape to be in WWE. They're doing
Yes.
backflips, they're throwing people around. No one said a WWE athlete is unathletic.
No.
Now they're not competitors. That's
No.
fine, but they are athletes. I'll give them that. So it's like Ronda, she's been in good shape. She clearly came in her and Gina, like right off the back. I know a vlog was made about them, especially Gina losing a bunch of weight. They both look great, and Gina did say she would like to get back in there against a striker herself so she can show off her skills. If she wants to do it, absolutely, go ahead. But hopefully they can give her a good matchmaking and not someone too dangerous. Because again, Gina was never that good. She was just the first, and she's a good brand ambassador, I guess, for women's MMA. I think Ronda, Amanda, Holly are all better, but yeah, I mean, let's be real here. We talked about JDS. If they're letting JDS compete, they should let Gina compete. And frankly, Ronda has also complained about concussions as part of the reason why stepping away from UFC. And hey, California had no problem letting her compete now again. So, if we don't care, hey, this is full of squash matches. If we don't care about old guys getting beat up, go ahead and let Gina have another fight. If we don't care, let's do it happen. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. Somebody will take that fight. There will be a women's striker that's up in age, has been out of the game for a while, that will come up to the plate and take the fight. It'll be a fun one to see. It'll be a good co-main event, maybe.
As long as it's not Cyborg, we're good.
Yeah, don't do Cyborg. Don't do Holly Holm. Gina was never in that. Gina was never in that super high elite level. She was the really fun person that came in and showed that women can do it. But yeah, I guess we can get right into the next one if you want.
Really
Got a
quick.
little more to say.
Gina's best win is probably Tanya Evinger.
Yeah.
Back in 2007 in Elite XC. Tanya Evinger never having won in the UFC, by the way. But that was probably her best win. Pretty sure. Yeah. Again, Gina was never good. She wasn't around when there were any good fighters except for Chris Cyborg. Ronda looked great. She pulled off a signature Ronda Rousey win. I would like her to come back and fight Holly Holm. Otherwise, it's kind of a waste of time. But hey, she made $2 million, so good for her.
Yeah, I know. She made $2 million. She's going off in the sunset. She's gonna have those babies. And her ducks.
Do you want to get into the co-main event, or you want to talk? You know what? You lead it. I have so much to say on the event, and if we pass it, I'll bring it up. Go ahead. Let's get into the co-main event. Nate Diaz loses by, I believe it's technical knockout, dock stoppage, or corner stoppage.
Yeah.
Duran said, no, Nate Diaz's face is leaking too badly. I cannot plug this stuff up. Mike Perry wins again outside the UFC, and probably the greatest career post UFC that any fighter of Mike Perry's level has had. Truly amazing.
Yeah. Mike Platinum Perry looked incredible. It definitely showed how much he has come whenever he went over to bare knuckle. And his style of fighting, it's so bare knuckle style. And watching him and it was just like a perfect style against Nate Diaz and how Nate Diaz is going to approach the fight.
Yeah, so Nate, obviously a skilled boxer. Mike Perry, at this point, the younger guy, clearly carrying more speed, going to carry more power.
Yeah.
Nate, crafty veteran, though Mike's been around at this point. I think the key thing that messed Nate up here is he thought he was going to be safe in the clinch, like he's safe in the clinch in so many times in so many other fights. But frankly, I think the clinch is where Mike Perry does his best work. He is mean with the dirty boxing, and he throws hellacious elbows really quick. 9 fights Mike Perry has had since leaving the UFC. The only loss, Jake Paul. Everyone else he's beaten. That's included Michael Venom Page, Eddie Alvarez, Luke Rockhouse, Thiago Alvarez, Jeremy Stevens, and now Nate Diaz. He has better wins in his post-UFC career than he ever did in his UFC career.
Yeah.
What a...
There's a few angles to take.
I don't even know what to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, this was the problem I had when I was coming into this podcast. I'm like, there is so much not to talk about the fights.
Yeah.
That there's so much to talk about outside of the fights. One thing with this fight is, like I was saying right before we started. One second.
Yeah, take that.
Gotta take my nicotine out. Nate Diaz. What is it? What is it exactly called? I've drawn a blank. The tissue above the eye.
Oh, I don't know. He has scar tissue.
Scar tissue. He has really, really bad scar tissue. Dude, he got cut on the top of his head in like an L shape too. And there was just so much blood coming out. And this has been a problem I can barely remember the last time I watched a Nate Diaz fight that did not draw blood from his face. Like, I think he like, one time he rubbed his head against one of the opponents. I think it was a Leon Edwards fight. And it broke open, him just rubbing his head. It might not have been that fight, but it was one of those fights. That man really should not get back into the ring until he gets that fixed. And if you can't really get that fixed, I don't know what to say. But it is Nate Diaz. He's a lot later in his career. He's starting to show like what we saw with Nick Diaz's most recent fight. It's just not there. It's not quite there anymore. Nate's not going to go down, not going to get knocked out. Give it to him. He did somehow survive at the end. Got saved by the bell. But very much what we expected from a Nate Diaz fight. I did expect a little bit more. Yeah, I did expect a little bit more.
Bell couldn't save him. Nate Diaz doesn't have bro, if your face is going to bleed like a ripe tomato when it gets flicked, and clearly he'd mess me up. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It's an issue. It's an issue in all of his fights. He becomes a bloody mess. Going back to the Conor fights, he has this issue. And now it's twice in high-level events with the first BMF against Jorge Masvidal. And now in this, clearly the people's main event of the first MVP card against Mike Perry. It stops early due to blood loss. In fights he was losing, frankly.
Yeah.
He was getting his butt kicked. And then he gets all cut up and he loses, and his fans come in and they make the case for a rematch. Because, he didn't get knocked out. He just got cut up. And, that's what they're looking like their MVP might be trying to do is Perry Diaz too. And frankly, it's like, I have no interest in it. I have no interest in it.
No, the only fight I still want to see from Nate Diaz is after Max Holloway and Conor McGregor. If that does happen, I want the Nate Diaz Conor McGregor trilogy, and I want Nate Diaz to go out into the sunset. And if it's Conor's last bit fight, and I would like to see him possibly go out in the sunset, but that's the only fight I really want to see.
Bro, I think they're going to both go out to pasture instead of out to sunset with those. I don't think that fight happens. I don't think Nate Diaz gets back in the UFC. after losing in Jake Paul's promotion. I don't think Dana will take him back. And Conor, I don't think he's ever going to be able to get out of the UFC, just like John Jones, and we'll talk about that more later because he was on the broadcast for this next fight, actually.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about. But anything, I mean,
what
a
do you
little bit
think?
of talk after the fight, they did potentially set up Mike Perry versus Jake Paul in MMA. I'd be interested, even though we watched Jake Paul already beat Mike Perry. MMA makes it different. I could watch it.
I would watch it. I don't want it. But
yeah, it's not. It doesn't sell. Mike Perry's kind of cleared through a lot of the guys outside the UFC, but I don't think he's going to make it back in there. But I'm sure they would have him. He's not. The problem is Mike Perry's skill set is so limited. He cannot compete with grapplers.
No.
And that's the issue for him. But hey, maybe get some karate combat guys and put Mike Perry against them, and let's just keep the fun going because it's been a pleasure watching these fights. Even him and Luke Rockhold, they put on a banger, and Luke Rockhold's kind of known for putting on stinkers if he's not winning. So
it's hard not to put on a banger against Mike Perry just because of the way of his style and aggressive mindset and approach. You have to counter against Mike Perry, or you're just going to
run,
die.
but you cannot hide unless you can take it to the ground. And since Nate Diaz is not going to grapple, there's nowhere to hide in the stand up against Mike Perry.
No, his striking ability is very elite. Well, it's like a very elite scrapper ability. It's pure striking.
It's just effective.
It's very effective.
Very effective striking.
Very similar to Sean Strickland. Is not the typical striking, but it's a very effective style of striking. They both very different.
He implements his game. I can kind of do that. It's not quite Strickland, but
it's not quite the same. But the implementing of the game is similar.
You're not going to beat Mike Perry at Mike Perry's game unless you can just outdog him, and it's hard to outdog Mike Perry. Yeah. But let's get to heavyweight. We have Francis Ngannou, the lineal heavyweight champion, with the first round knockout of the former PFL champion Felipe Lins. Man, Francis looked so big. It was so great to see Francis fight again. I just looked in MMA. Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah. That fight should have never happened. Horrible matchmaking, but I mean, hey, the dude took the fight.
No. That is great matchmaking. That's all they got. Yeah. That's the only other big time heavyweight outside the UFC was Felipe Lins. He was credible. Who else? No, don't you say it's horrible matchmaking. Who else could he have fought?
Somebody that weighs more than 220.
Yeah.
Against Francis Ngannou that has 96 horsepower hands.
Yeah, no, I mean,
but I mean, it's not. It wasn't
a fighter, but yeah, we knew that wasn't going to go.
Yeah. That's the fight that everybody knew exactly what was going to happen. It's kind of the same with the Ronda Rousey fight, but
apparently not for the Ronda Rousey one.
Little rewind. I did want to ask you, kind of taking it one step back with the Nate Diaz. When did Dana White post that post about the Conor McGregor Max Holloway official?
During the walkout of the Francis Ngannou fight.
So it was the Francis Ngannou fight.
That's Francis was walking to the cage. That's when Dana posted it. Petty.
Okay. So it's relative to this fight.
Yeah, it's relative to this fight. So you know what? Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
Really quick, and we can talk about it a little more later. This was a fun card. It had its issues. It was a good first card. It was fun. Here's something to notice, though. The UFC did not counter-program. They didn't even try to counter-program. No disrespect to Arnold Allen and Melky Costa.
Yeah.
That was the worst fight card of the year. They had a good fight. No disrespect to them. Great fight by Arnold Allen, actually. But
a lot of strikes thrown, but we're not going to get into that.
Was not even close to who was watching. Like, people are like, which card you got? Like, that was grade A apex slop. And this was
Yeah.
a fun night of fights. Now the pacing got terrible during the main card. And that's because everyone just kept finishing people, and apparently they had to rock this thing out to midnight. But so that was rough to go through. But I mean, that was really rough to go through. They need to fix that if they do it again.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It was their first promotion.
Dana White chooses not to even try to compete with Jake Paul in MMA. That's what happened there. Instead, he decides to announce Max Holloway versus Conor McGregor for International Fight Week during Francis's walkout. So we know who is in whose head, and also does not help the UFC. John Jones on the broadcast trying to get out of his UFC deal to apparently fight Francis for MVP. John, you are never going to get out of that UFC contract alive. You signed an 8-fight deal, you fought 2, you got a lot of fights, you're going nowhere. And let's not pretend like, you were rushing to fight Francis when you could either. So, funny on the broadcast, but I guarantee that pissed Dana off.
I'm trying to find if they released the numbers yet on the Netflix card, if they released the view numbers. But I have not seen anything yet. Just pretty much everybody saying Netflix viewers demand refunds after rapid Ronda Rousey victory on MMA return. Like if you,
it was a Netflix subscription.
It was a Netflix fight.
Yeah, not been publicly disclosed yet.
Yeah, if you guys bought, hold up, if you guys got Netflix just to watch the Ronda Rousey fight, I mean that's okay. I find it weird. Just watch Netflix, man. I mean, there's a lot of great shows on Netflix.
A lot of good stuff on Netflix, guys. How did you feel about the first time ever seeing Netflix ads?
Oh yeah, that is true. I did think that was interesting because I thought it was because I pay for the ads on. I know I got the cheapest membership on Netflix, so it's Netflix with ads. I thought it was just because I have Netflix with ads. Do you have Netflix without ads?
I don't know. When I first got Netflix, it didn't have ads, and I've
Okay,
never
then
had
you most
ads
likely
on Netflix.
Okay, so you're not watching a movie and an ad will pop up like halfway through the movie.
Never on Netflix, uninterrupted.
So you got it without ads, and it still pops up for you.
Wasn't regular ads, but they were showing their shows constantly throughout the broadcast, which fine on them. I mean, watching that 0 of 7 ad pop up, I'm like, that's a dirty. Even Paramount wouldn't dare do that. They would just be putting it on in the corner the whole time, But definitely kind of weird for Netflix. Again, the worst thing you can say on them, the pacing was horrendous. And I know a lot of people are taking shots at Ariel for that, asking all these follow-up questions, yada yada, dragging out the interviews.
I disagree totally.
A lot of people blaming Ariel for that. I'm going to give him the break because, in my opinion, it's not Ariel just going, what do you call it, loose cannon, and I'm just going to act like this is the Ariel Helwani show and talk for 4 hours. It wasn't bad. The broadcast had to go. They had to fill space because they predict. I mean, keep in mind, Francis, Nate, Ronda, all projected 25-minute fights. All of them end, and Nate Diaz, is the longest fight in the main card, going 10 minutes. They have to fill the 25 minutes, which was rough with all that talking of nonsense. But
I like the longer. I like the little bit longer interview section at post-fight interview. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was neat. I like the way that they did it. Actually, I do like the way UFC does theirs. I don't dislike either one.
I don't think there was any reason for the Mike Perry, Nate Diaz post-fight interviews to go on for 15 minutes. That was wild. Now we need to hear what Jake Paul has to say. I'm like,
okay, the whole Jake Paul thing was wild, but
he's like, yeah, I'd fight you. You can get it. No, you can get it. And it's like, you guys look like you're about to kiss right now. That's all I'm going to say. This is a family show.
Oh.
Let's talk Francis. A few people giving Herb Dean some grief there. Francis knocks Felipe down and just
Yeah.
menacingly stares him down while Herb's like,
Herb is
he's
like,
going to hit him again, and Felipe Lynn just looks like he's dying on the ground after the one hit.
Francis has always been known to go to the ground and give you another punch to the moon while you're already knocked out. Francis having a restraint of holding back and waiting for and looking at Herb Dean. Just a shout out to Francis on that one. That was a new Francis we've never seen before.
Shout out for the self-control Francis showed.
Yeah,
Also,
self-control
like,
Francis.
shout
That's
out
scary.
Francis.
Self-control Francis.
Francis, allegedly good guy. Apparently, he gave 100,000 of his paycheck also to Felipe Lins.
Oh, really?
So, allegedly, I heard.
Yeah.
So, Francis, not getting him to that $1 million he said every single one of his opponents is going to have when he moved to PFL, but
Yeah.
at least apparently gave him an extra 100 bands. So, if true, good on Francis. Nice guy, confirmed.
Yeah.
Let's get deeper into the card. Obviously, though, those were the 3 top fights of the card. Anything you have to say about those, like, as a whole, now that it's over?
Francis Ngannou winning by knockout, expected. Ronda Rousey winning by submission, expected. Nate Diaz getting bloody, expected. It's honestly, we all, for some reason, a lot of us expected something slightly different. We expected longer.
You could have made that parlay pretty easy.
Yeah.
Francis by knockout, Nate by losing by dock stoppage, or, Nate losing by dock stoppage, Ronda by armbar. You could have picked that and got a pretty good parlay.
Oh, yeah.
Probably wouldn't have been, it probably still would have been a plus money pick, but you could have got that.
Yeah. To the people that are like very upset about that, I don't know what to say. It was written in perfectly big bold letters what was going to happen. These fights were were not really close fights. Nate Diaz, Mike Perry, I thought was going to be a little bit closer, but outside of that,
they were squash matches.
Yeah, there are. Yes, exactly. It was something fun. I was just so happy just to see Francis come back out and get an MMA ring. I was so happy to see Ronda Rousey and Gina come back out and just throw it down one more time. And most likely, it is the last time we ever see it happen again. So let it be. Just enjoy it. It was on Netflix. You didn't have to pay pay-per-view money again. I don't know why everybody's complaining now. Nobody's paying pay-per-views anymore.
Complaining about the price. I'm like, first of all, it's kind of weird if you don't have Netflix.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to have streaming and not have Netflix, I feel like you would have Netflix. Also, especially because, like, there's, like, already been boxing fights on Netflix. Like, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury is going to be on Netflix later this summer. And, like, we're going to watch that.
Yeah.
Of course we are. That's the best fight Netflix has guaranteed us or put out so far is Fury versus Anthony Joshua. But let's get down into the next fight on the card.
Yeah.
Round 1, KO via body strikes. Saladin Parnasse.
Yeah.
Just outclassed Kenny Cross. Saladin Parnasse, probably the greatest or one of the best fighters outside of the UFC at the moment. A lightweight fighter, and a 2-time KSW champion. He now is on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fight win streak. His KSW belt he has defended 4 times. Of those, 5, 6 fights I just said, all of them stoppages. This guy's like really good.
Yeah. I mean, Parnasse showed off some crazy like elite style boxing that I wasn't fully aware of. His range
of actual boxer,
his range and being able to it was some crazy body kicks too that we saw. I mean, they were right there, they're whipping, they're wah-bah. And then even sent cross backwards. I was like, wow. I mean, he's going to be he could become one of the biggest stars outside of the UFC.
He has the skills to get it done. The problem is, especially at lightweight, without I mean, hey, think of it. No one cared about Michael Chandler until he came over to UFC.
Correct.
Nobody cared about him.
Yeah.
And like that's just like how it kind of is, especially in that division.
Yeah.
Um, I
UFC
don't
has
know.
lightweight, UFC has middleweight, UFC has welterweight on lockdown for the past decade.
Yeah, I
Featherweight
mean,
too, if you want to put them in there.
they've had all of them,
Yeah.
pretty much. A few times here and there, you have some welterweights that can compete, lightweights that can kind of compete, featherweights. I mean, Pitbull's another good example.
Yeah.
But and like frankly, Bellator had the majority of them, and we've kind of seen how the majority of these Bellator guys had come over, and yeah, they just haven't been able to, get it done, with exception of Yaroslav Amosov.
Yeah.
Going to talk about Jason Jackson, also on this card tonight, who got an amazing win. But we're talking about Saladin Parnasse right now. And again, the guy 14-2 in KSW. I believe he's what's his record? 23-2 overall. Only 28 years old. He's a really good fighter. French. So in that market, I'm gonna say, who I want to see him fight? I want to see him go to UFC, and I want to see him against Dan Hooker.
Dan Hooker. Yes. Okay, that's what I was actually going to get into. I was saying this to my wife last night. I hope that, well, we all know that Dana White in the UFC was watching this card, as much as they might not say they were.
I think Dana was actually watching a power slap, but
Yeah.
I'm sure he watched this before he checked out the Apex card.
I hope that the UFC as a brand or as a whole saw this fight and realized there's potential with this guy. And I hope that there's a chance that he could get into, I don't even know, the contender series, or even just get straight brought in, which is what I would do, because he's above
He should be brought in.
series.
He's a KSW champion.
Yeah.
Bring him in.
Yeah. Before he gets out of his prime, like the UFC likes to do with like half of the people when they're at like the breaking point of ending their prime.
And think of that. If we wait for Saladin Parnasse to get out of his prime, that's another 6 years probably. Like, get this. He's 28. He's barely in his prime. Get him in there now. Like,
yeah, get him in there now.
And frankly, Kenny Cross too. He does not have the acclaim that Saladin Parnasse, and clearly they are not of the same level. Kenny Cross, good too. He's made it onto Contender Series as well, and I believe won. Still hasn't gotten signed to the UFC yet, though. Obviously not a good showing tonight. Got outclassed, but he's a fun fighter too.
Yeah.
Let's get into, I think, the most shameful fight on the card.
Hey, do you know?
Go ahead.
Do you know who Moto Man is?
Moto Man.
He commented on our page saying, "You guys are so beautiful."
Oh, where did he comment?
YouTube live.
Okay. Well, I will look that up, and you go ahead. Let's talk about Robles de Spain getting it done against JDS.
All right, I'll get into this one. Via KO, brutal KO, round one at a 259 mark. The heavyweights traded a lot of massive blows. The absolutely start of the match. JDS did have a couple punches, but not really. The other guy used his massive 6'7" frame to crack Dos Santos early, drawing blood, and then the former UFC champion tried to fire back. It didn't work out. Didn't work out. JDS is just definitely out of his prime by any means. JDS got a little extra money. This was one of those fights I was looking at. Yeah, I was like, JDS should not be fighting, and it showed. I love JDS. He was a good champion at one point. Very respected in the game. Still very respected in the fighting world. Great leader. Great coach, I've heard. It's just time. I understand you wanted to get that extra $80,000 or whatever. It's not worth $80,000 to get concussed in your 40s.
Okay, let's talk about this. First of all, Robles de Spain, fun taekwondo striker, kind of, because he's not good. if you push him, if you like, can cow tip him, if you can sneak a cow in there behind him and push him over, there's no way in the world he can ever find his way back to his feet. He can
Yeah.
have, Jack Sparrow's compass telling him what he wants most in the world to just stand up, and he will not be able to get it done.
No.
JDS just had to trip and push him over. And he was not able to do that. He did shoot a takedown. Robles did stop it. So clearly, Despain is improving. He is slowly getting some takedown defense very late into his career there. But what he does carry is lights out power. Lights out power, technical, fast, crisp striking. But no, for a Taekwondo guy, no foot movement, flat footed. And JDS, being washed as he is, with a broken glass jaw, still almost got it done via leg kicks because Despain does not know how to check leg kicks either. But at the end of the day, he found his target, hit him with a brutal three-piece combo, and we saw JDS crumble to the ground. And it's hard to watch. You talked about a good champion. He wins the belt all the way back UFC Fox 1 in 2011 by knocking out Cain Velasquez in Mexico, and is then part of probably one of the greatest trilogies at heavyweight, right up there with Stipe and DC, against Cain Velasquez, where he just gets demolished in his next two fights, losing a decision to Cain, as well as losing in round 5 to Cain in their third fight. And after that fight, he still got a win over Stipe, but it's after the Cain Velasquez losses, which are just brutal beatdowns. If you want to go back and watch some great heavyweight MMA, you can't get much better than JDS Velasquez, those trilogies. He gets the win, but then listen to these knockouts. Knocked out via punches Overeem. Knocked out punches Stipe. Francis knocks him out. Curtis Blades knocks him out. Rosenstruck knocks him out. Cyril Gahn knocks him out. Jorgen De Castro wins against JDS via a shoulder injury. He does get 2 wins in bare knuckle against Fabricio Verdum and Alan Belcher, who are just as washed as JDS. And here he is against Robles Despain, losing to the three-piece. And that makes it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stoppage losses in MMA in a row for the former champion JDS. It is time for this guy to retire. We do not need to watch him keep fighting. It is over. He does not need to keep getting knocked out. It is bad.
Yes. It's time. It's just time.
And he's good. He was so good.
He was so good. Yeah.
But it's over. It is over.
Yeah.
It's been over.
Yeah. No, you don't do that. You don't get that slow and that heavy-footed within a year. That was definitely it was during his UFC days too. Even at the end, you kind of just knew.
Once he starts getting hit, it's over. He can't defend it.
No.
He gets hit, he gets rattled. It's like Chuck. Chuck Liddell. Once their chin starts going, it just takes one hit, and then they're just not the same. They're good in the fight. They're moving, they're grooving. They get hit once, and then they're not the same. And that hit can be a jab. And then once that happens, it's not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen, and it just quickly gets done. How do you feel? This, I know some people are talking about this could be Francis's next fight, the winner of this fight. I don't think there was any conversation with JDS fighting Francis again. I think that would be criminal. Robles Despain, that's at least a fresh matchup. I think Francis destroys Despain. Again, Francis will take him down. He is a better grappler. And then he's going to bomb on him from mount. And Despain will be a puddle on the floor. So he definitely cannot beat Francis. But I guess that could be an interesting next fight.
We haven't gotten into that quite yet during the pod. how do you feel about the whole John Jones being there?
Okay, so yeah, John Jones, that was foolish.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
John Jones being there, workshopping with Tyron Woodley on the desk, like, oh, maybe Netflix will help you get out of your UFC contract. Newsflash: Netflix hosts WWE fights. They're in business with TKO. They're not going to
Yeah.
work against their interests for John Jones. And let's be generous. I said this on Twitter. Um, the only way a John Jones Francis Ngannou fight happens is if they re-sign Francis to the UFC. And even then, we gotta hope John actually takes the fight and doesn't duck Francis again.
Yeah.
John has ducked Francis and Tom. Like, no, like, ooh, I want to get out of my UFC contract. Like, well, why'd you sign an 8-fight deal?
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to happen. If you want to fight, fight. If you don't want to fight, don't retire. But like, you're not going to get to pick your stuff, and like, that's not like, yeah, that sucks for a fighter. The lack of choices they have, that sucks for them, especially someone as accomplished as John Jones. But like, I don't think John Jones wants to fight. I
No.
think he wants to be celebrated for his career, and unfortunately, because of how it ended with his constant retirements, because of his out of the cage actions, running over pregnant ladies, getting DUIs left, right, and center,
Yeah.
discharging firearms while doing donuts during COVID, the domestic violence stuff. Like, yeah, bro, you've ruined your legacy. People are not going to celebrate you. You will get people saying the best fighter of all time is John Jones. No one can argue that. But they're
No.
not going to celebrate your career because, bro, you're a POS. Like, it ain't going to happen. I'm sorry. Don't be one.
Hey,
Like,
there's a lot of people out there that still celebrate it though.
They will say
Yeah.
he's the best, but he is not going to be a beloved icon of the sport like
Okay.
a
Yeah.
MJ is for basketball, or a LeBron is for basketball, or a Tom Brady, or um, you know,
Yeah, I know
whatever.
what you mean.
Like, he's not going to be celebrated as the icon of the sport because his actions will not allow that. Don't look up to John Jones. He is not someone you look up to.
No.
Like, and that's his fault.
Yeah. Oh, thinking about John Jones, on that Conor McGregor card at the bottom card, Gable Stevens is fighting.
Yeah, against like what, the worst heavyweight on the roster? Who's he
Yeah.
fighting? Five
I'm
and
not sure,
two.
but that's gonna be. I'm excited for Gable Stevens or Stevenson. Um, John Jones has a lot of high remarks. Even he was talking about him last night, and he keeps talking about Gable. Is
Yeah,
John Jones hyping
Gable.
him up that much, or do you really think Gable's going to be like that dominant of a force in the heavyweight division?
So Gable absolutely has the potential to be a dominant force in the heavyweight division. But what
Yeah.
we need to see from Gable Stevens is, can he take a punch? Or is he
Yeah.
going to be a Brock Lesnar? And hey, Brock became a champion. Doesn't mean he won't succeed. Heavyweight is a shallow division.
Yeah.
But can he take a hit? These elite wrestlers, a lot of these guys, elite grapplers in general, they don't like getting punched.
No.
Big guys hit hard. So, if he is a guy that is desperately scared of getting hurt, which we're not going to know until we watch him start fighting. Nobody knows that until we see him in the cage.
Yeah.
If he can deal with the punches, man, he's going to be trouble because he is an amazing wrestler and he can dominate. And if he has John Jones as his coach, you know how I feel about ground and pound. It's
Yeah.
you need to hit ground and pound if you're going to be a wrestler.
Yeah.
And
John Jones,
hey,
one of the best.
John Jones, one of the best. If he's coaching Gable, who's one of the best grapplers, it can get done. It can
Yeah.
happen, but we need to see it. And until we see it against, someone that's decent, and frankly, I don't know who it is, but pulling up the rankings right now, until he's beating the Towson Texera, Walter Walker, Marcin Tiberias, it's nothing.
They should have given Ty Tuivasa off the bat.
I think Gable should get named certainly. I don't think they should be messing around with like, oh, Joe Schmo.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely a Joe Schmo he got, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was just
Um,
randomly. It was brought up during the fight last night, and I was like, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to
let's
see.
talk about. We can talk about the Namo Fazil Jake Babian fight. It was all right. All right. Namo
Yeah.
just freak. Oh, we're on the prelims now. He was a freak athlete. Apparently, he gets in a dust up with Armin Sarukian backstage. I feel like this is more the Armin Sarukian show. Why can't this guy stay out of trouble? And will he ever get a light? Will he ever get a title fight because he can't stay out of trouble?
Most likely not.
Most likely not. Damn. Um, anything you have to say about this fight? Because I do have two other fights on this card I want to talk about.
No, I don't have much to say about that fight. Go ahead.
All right.
Next fight.
Adriano Moraes gets the technical submission at 4:59 of round 3 against Fumi Nakuda in a fight that he maybe lost. Definitely controversy in this fight. I think people are pretty split. I think he got the choke, but there's a lot of people saying, "Hey, you'll go to the bell and you see it's after the bell that Fumi's starting to grimace and stuff like that, which means he's clearly still there."
Yeah.
He definitely was out by the time the choke got separated.
Yeah.
But did he go out after the bell? I don't know. The knee didn't land. It just knocked him off balance. So it wasn't
Yeah.
like he got knocked out. What do you think? Do you think Adriano got the choke or do you think that was a bad call?
I hate these because
It's tough.
I can pick both sides of the argument and give you a rebuttal to it at the same
Yeah.
time. Because like if he's out, he's out. But you never truly know because it was literally the last second.
Yeah.
Especially from the former one champion.
Yeah. Former
Getting in
champion,
that
the guy that beat DJ.
yeah.
Obviously, DJ got those wins back, and Adriano's been up and down since then. And Fumi Nakuda, I didn't know about him before this fight.
Yeah.
He came in on short notice, filling in for Muhammad Mokayev. And Nakuda's fun, man. Undefeated until now. And I think if you say he didn't get choked out, I think he won that fight.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem with these controversial things because every time it's always somebody that most likely won the fight kind of might have got screwed over.
This is where I say if there is an MVP MMA 2, you do Adriano Moraes, Fumi Nakuda on that main event there. I think absolutely. Adriano Moraes looked good. Fumi Nakuda, I like his style. I like his game. Very fun. Both these guys, great grapplers, decent on the feet. I thought it was a fun fight at 130. So.
Yeah, fun fight.
And then I think this was the fastest fight on the card outside of Ronda Rousey. Poor Jason Jackson, lost by 5 seconds, but gets it done. Jason, the ass-kicking machine, Jackson, the best nickname in the sport, gets it done against Jeff Creighton with the left hook in round 1.
Yeah.
Jason Jackson, former Bellator champion, 8-2 in Bellator, 2-1 in PFL, 2-0 on LFA, and 0-1 on the Contender Series. He loses on the Contender Series against Kyle Stewart via an ankle injury all the way back in 2017. But he had beat Diego Lima before that. This guy, he's beaten Neiman Gracie, he's beaten Bender Henderson, he's beaten Paul Daly, beat Douglas Lima, beat Yaroslav Amosov, beat Ray Cooper III. He's gone through them. His last 2 losses against Thad Gene, a split decision, and then Ramazan Kurmagomedov. I did not pronounce that fight. His last Bellator fight. Jason Jackson's good, man. Another one of those guys where they need to get this guy in the UFC because he's exciting.
He left
he's
zero
great.
doubt.
And frankly, I don't want to ruin what Mike Perry got going on, but if you're looking for high level welterweights for Mike Perry to fight, the best welterweight MVP has signed is Jason Jackson.
Yeah.
Now, he probably wipes the floor with Mike Perry, but I would love to see the fight.
Yeah, we both would love to see that fight. I'd rather see him in the UFC.
I would
He
rather see
left.
him in the UFC too. But if there is an MVP too, let's do,
Yeah.
Mike Perry, Jason Jackson, Carano versus some female striker, and get Francis Robles to Spain, and do Adriano Moraes, Fumi Nakuda too. That's the main card right there.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good main card. Oh, my phone fell. Do you expect to see a number two? I do. I think we'll definitely see another MVP MMA promotion going on.
There will be an MVP MMA 2. It will not be as big as MVP MMA 1, but MVP MMA 3 will be a big fight. I don't know if there will be one after 3.
Why you
That's
say
my-
that?
That's my prediction. There's always 3. There's always
Yeah.
3.
All right. Nothing else. Much of that. There's always 3. Yeah. It'll most likely happen next year around International Fight Week because Jake Paul and Dana White got their panties in a twad about something together and they can't decide why they don't like each other and they just want to hate each other. So they both hype up a great promotional fight and both of their promotions will suck on that night for some odd reason. And we're going to be talking about the same exact thing again. Like we never expected anything else to talk about. And I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm just rambling right now. But yeah.
Just rambling. All right, okay. Grand scheme of the card. Let's talk about what they did good, what they did wrong. First of all, first and foremost, whoever's idea it was to put lights on the seats of the Clipper Stadium was a genius, because that way you could not see how uncrowded it was until the Nate Diaz fight.
That's what they kept zoning out and showing the stadium and the seats and the lights like every 5 minutes. They did like a 10-minute segment where Tyron Woodley's just talking in the background about some nonsense, and then they're showing the seats of the out there in Inglewood, California. Which dome was that? I'm drawing a blank.
Intuit.
Oh yeah, Intuit Dome. And I was like, dang, there's not that many people, but I was like, they're most likely going to show up. But they're going to be those type, because that MVP promotion is definitely the promotion where people are not going to show up into, most likely Francis Ngannou or Nate Diaz. And I was kind of surprised. A lot of people didn't even show up for the Francis Ngannou fight. We had to wait until Nate Diaz came on, and then you looked, and then they re-showed it. And like, oh, there's people everywhere now, even though it was like flashing lights. But yeah, it sucks being an MMA fan, because honestly, if I got those tickets, I would have been there for the first fight. And I watched all of them, and the prelims is arguably better than the main event.
The pacing at the back half of the prelims and the first 2 fights on the main card, it was boom, boom, exciting, go, go, and then it just started to drag. I remember. So Hannah fell asleep while watching with me, and it was hysterical because like she watched the Nate Diaz get all cut up by Mike Perry.
Yeah.
And like, we watched the fight get stopped. And then, she went to sleep on the couch. And then I'm watching. I'm on my phone. I'm watching. And it's like 20 minutes later, I tell him, like, yeah, hey, babe, go up to bed. It's fine. There's only one more fight left. And she's like, wait, they're still in the cage. I'm like, yeah, they've been talking in the cage for 20 minutes. It's like...
I didn't realize it because I was tuned in.
Because, Mike Perry has to talk. Now Jake Paul has to talk. Now Nate Diaz has to talk. Now it's back to Jake Paul. And all 3 of them are in this awkward, like, yeah, I'd fight you. No, I'd fight you. You can get it. Like I said, it was the most erotic post-fight interview I've ever seen. It was very strange.
All right. Let me think. Let me actually think of pros and cons of the whole MVP promotion. I do have to realize in my head that it was truly their first MMA promotion. It was done at a very nice arena, which I was happy about.
Great arena. Clippers.
Yeah, the lights, I somewhat liked them, but I wish they didn't use them as much. I wish it was just more like at the end of the fight they did like a lot of flashy. I wish it wasn't throughout everything because I bet that would have been kind of weird being a fan at the event and then everywhere you look you're just getting like schizophrenia or something from the lights or whatever they call it. Another thing I did like was the walkouts. For some reason, I really enjoyed the tunnel that they used. I thought that was a really cool tunnel. It was a nice touch. It wasn't overly done, and it wasn't like they had like Lil Wayne coming out behind them or anything, which they've done with like a lot of the boxing matches.
With the
They kept
boxing
it
stuff,
simple.
they do that. I'm glad they didn't do that stuff.
Yeah,
I think visually, there's not much to complain about. The hexagon's a little weird. That they did that. That's a little like it looks like they got an octagon and just forgot to put 2 panels in, but like they had to do that for legal reasons clearly.
yeah.
The black canvas was all right. I like the white canvas more. I think it pops, and even the light yellow canvas I think looks good too. But the black one looked a little strange. Visually, I think it looked great. I know there's a few audio issues here and there. Netflix
Yes.
kind of cut out once or twice on me, but overall was pretty good. The biggest, besides the dummy saying the main event was rigged, the biggest complaint I've seen about it were definitely against Ariel and then Mauro Ranallo, the commentator. Ranallo, it's like, for me, it kind of is like, he's done everything, high level combat sports. So it's like, I'm kind of used to him in a way, but he is a weird like he tap like a credit card was the one that made me laugh with his weird lines. But like I know some people didn't like it. I think he brings a fun energy to it, so it's like I can deal with it, but I understand if you're watching the whole thing getting tired of it. I did get a little too much Ariel. I like Ariel, but I think that was a little much for him. But I think that was more of Netflix kind of like having to fill their time slots because of all these finishes. And they let the guy that does a 4-hour podcast every single day fill that space for him. So
I think, well, Ariel, if you guys don't know about Ariel, Ariel has a lot of fighting knowledge stored in that brain, and he is really good at recalling very, very niche things.
yeah, he's the guy. Ariel is like the OG super fan media guy.
Yeah.
He's been there almost since the beginning. I mean, remember, like Dana White used to love Ariel because this was the guy bringing attention to the UFC. It wasn't until he broke the Brock Lesnar coming back for UFC 200 where their relationship soured. But Ariel's a G. I like Ariel. I know I get the complaints on Ariel at times. He is a bit of an instigator. It is weird when you're doing that in the cage for the post fight. Also, I mean, maybe it's a UFC thing. I find it weird that you're having someone from the desk run down to do the post interviews in the cage. I'm so used to like Rogan or Bisbing or DC.
Rogan does it the best.
Doing the post fight interview. So I was thinking like, is Kenny Florian going to do it? Is Ronaldo going to do it? I think Sean Violoff was the third guy. I don't know much about him.
Yeah.
But I guess they had Ariel. I mean, I think Tyron might have done a better job doing the post-fight interviews. Tyron's a pretty good interviewer, actually. Doesn't get the credit for that, but overall, what do you rank the MVP card? Give me a letter grade.
I will rank the MVP Netflix promotional card. Let me think. I'm ranging between. At times, I give it a little bit of a range. At times, I was feeling like it was like a 76 overall out of 100, and then it got up to me like an 83. So I'll give it a C plus B minus.
B minus, like below B minus, like an 81, 82.
So you're thinking around what I'm thinking.
And like you know what I was saying like an 86.
Yeah.
Until they started making us wait 45 minutes between the fights at the end there. And it's like, bro, this thing what's his name? Aaron Bronstetter, the Canadian MMA journalist, the legend himself, he posted a tweet, and I think it said perfectly. So remember, started at 9, the main card ends after midnight. You want to know the amount of actual fight time in the cage there was
Oh gosh, how much?
for the whole main
After
card?
9. It
So from
couldn't have
9
been.
to midnight,
It couldn't have been any more. Less than 20.
it was 22 minutes.
22. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. That's
that is
insane.
rough.
Not even a
That
full
is
fight.
rough
And they had
to
multiple
watch.
5-minute fights too. Well, I think the
Yeah,
last 3 were all 5 minutes.
yeah. The last two were all 5 round fights. They
Or
all
not
get
5 minutes.
done.
You know what I mean? 5 rounders. But
Yeah, Nate Diaz is the longest fight on the main card.
yeah, which is crazy at exactly 10 minutes. Um, I think. You think that's a pod?
I think that's a pod. I want there to be an MVP too, and frankly, one other fight on there. If Jake Paul wants to do an MMA fight, be on MVP too, but be Jake, be the co-main. Don't steal the show. Be the
Yeah.
co-main.
Beat a
Trust me.
co-main, and I understand, Jake. You have balls of steel, or you're just stupid. I don't know, or it's arrogance. Can't
A little
figure it
bit of both.
out. Don't fight Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, don't fight Francis. You know what's hysterical? I got it. We'll end with this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Him trying to get the Francis boxing fight in the post cage, and Francis being like, Jake, I don't know, a business guy. You're a great business guy, but a fighter. And then he just kind of leaves. And then the next fight, you got Mike Perry and Nate Diaz like, yeah, you can get it. No, you
Yeah.
can get it. It's like Jake Paul's just like, okay. I'm like, you know what? Let's do the threesome. Jake Paul v. Mike Perry v. Nate Diaz, free for all, in the Noctagon, a 9-sided cage.
All 3 of those guys would team up and just murder Francis, and then they would
Oh
fight
no,
each
no,
other.
Francis isn't involved in this.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying Francis, Nate, Mike, and Jake Paul. I think
No,
Mike Perry
Mike,
comes out top.
Mike v. Nate v. Paul.
Oh, I see. I see.
And you know what? Throw Woodley in there too. Let's
Woodley would whoop all their butts. I think for some
I
reason.
think you know what? Honestly, if that were to happen, a 4-fighter free for all with those 4, even though I just watched Nate, I said Nate. I was gonna say Nate Perry. Mike Perry beat Nate. I think I'm going to pick Nate because I think Nate would just stay on the sidelines and watch it all go down, and
Yeah.
then come at the end, like a final boss. What's that? He's like, all right, now we can bang.
I'd kicked all their asses.
But I think that
Compton,
is a
bitch.
part. Stay tuned. We got another video. We're going to be talking about the main and co-main event for UFC Fight Night, Allen versus Costa. I will also have some coverage coming out about the one championship fight that happened this weekend too. We got boxing coming up. We got more fights coming up. No fight next weekend for UFC, but after that,
Oh,
after
that's
that, we got a
that's
more-
yeah. Me and Derek have talked about this. We're going to do most likely just the pre-thing for the White House card. It'd be a perfect time for us to film that.
Yes, we'll start talking about the White House card probably next weekend. But again, May 30th, Song Yadong versus Devison Figueiredo on a low-key banger morning card. But that is for another day. Thank you for watching, Kelby. Deuces.
Deuces.